Flooded fields are leaving farmers fishing for answers. Producers across Michigan can begin signing up for COVID-19 economic relief.
We'll be providing billions of dollars for corn, cotton, soybean, and specialty crop farmers, cattle ranchers, just about every category. I think we have almost every category, and if we don't, we're going to add them.
And Michigan Ag Commodities' Chris Betts has your market report. I'm Janelle Brose, and this is Farm News 5.
Farm News 5 is brought to you by Ford.
Massive amounts of rain falling across mid-Michigan over the last week have left fields waterlogged. In Midland County, 2 dams failed, forcing more than 10,000 people to evacuate and putting fields, homes, and businesses underwater. The governor declared a state of emergency in Midland County in response to what's being called historic 500-year flooding, and is also asking for help from the federal government.
I want to continue to remind people, if you're in an impacted area, please evacuate. This is going to be hard, but we are anticipating several feet of water across this area. And so while we're in the midst of a global pandemic, it's really important that to the best of our ability, we observe the best practices to keep ourselves and our families safe. We're going to get through this. It is a tough time, to be sure, but we are going to get through this. We know that tough times don't last, but tough people do. We have seen a community come together, and we're going to continue to do that until we get through this crisis.
We farm about 2,000 acres, and I'd say maybe 300 of it is above ground right now. All the rest is underwater. From our farm south, there's probably 5 miles now of solid water. Every crossroad and everything's flooded. We don't have a whole lot of cattle around here. There is some, but they moved them to higher ground and stuff. And we had 500 acres of corn, and I think maybe 80 acres of it is above water right now. Some of it there is right on the river, and that's under about 10 feet of water.
The event that we had here Sunday through Tuesday was an unusual meteorological phenomenon, something referred to as an atmospheric river event, where we get the transport of water vapor from, well, in this case, from the Gulf of Mexico and from the subtropics, hundreds or even thousands of miles up into the Midwest and funneled and then just dumped out in moderate to heavy rain each hour. Here was what we saw on Sunday and Monday. Michigan was right in the middle of that particular system, and the steering currents in the upper atmosphere were very, very slow, and as a result, this system just sat over the Great Lakes and continually bringing moisture up from the south and raining it out. And it was just we were sort of at the wrong place at the wrong time, I guess is my point.
Right now, we're just hoping that the water seeds, and if we can get the ground to dry out a little bit. We're already getting seed in for replant for corn, but with already knocking on the door of June, we're going to try and get our soybeans in first, what we haven't planted, and then proceed to see if we can replant or not, or what's available. With the bad year last year, pushed out a lot of varieties and stuff, and it's hard to get replant seed right now because we are in a shorter day corn area, and it's 88 to 95 day corn is very, very hard to come by right now.
A tough situation really draws back a lot of memories from last year when we see this kind of rain, and then a forecast for more rain before we're able to get back into the field. So pretty disappointing, but this comes after we had an ample opportunity to get a lot of planting done. We're about 30% ahead of a normal planting progress at this point, or at the end of last week. So we really were optimistic about the scenario that we're in of having acres planted in mostly good conditions. So at this point, we still have some optimism that we can come out of this and do pretty well. I think what 2019 did show us is how strong and how resilient growers can be, and some crops that we wouldn't have expected to make it through the conditions that they had last year. So I think there's some reason to be optimistic yet.
If you want a car from a company that's been building them for 115 years, get a Ford. If you want a car with driver assist technology, get a Ford. You're gonna want a Ford.
As part of this program today, we're announcing $16 billion direct payments to farmers and ranchers. So $16 billion is going directly to the farmers and ranchers. And it's authorized by the CARES Act and the Commodity Credit Corporation Charter Act. We fought hard for this. These payments will compensate farmers for losses related to the global pandemic.
Farmer enrollment in the Coronavirus Food Assistance Program begins next week. Starting May 26th, farmers can apply through their local Farm Service Agency office.
If you have worked at the FSA office in the past, you've probably filled out the majority of the paperwork needed. But if you haven't, there are several forms, AD and CCC forms, that need to be filled out with FSA to make sure you can qualify. That can take a little while, and we encourage you to just make an appointment and get that set up and get things rolling. USDA is also working on a calculator that you can access on farmers.gov website. It's not available yet, but should be early next week, where you could plug in specific examples of what this could mean for your farm individually.
CFAF payments will go directly to farmers who have suffered a 5% or greater price loss and are facing significant marketing costs due to the coronavirus, with a cap of $250,000 per person or entity. Producers can expect their payments to arrive in 2 installments, the first of which accounts for 80% of their maximum total payment, and the second would be the remaining 20% of their payment, and that would be issued if funds are available.
Well, we know this comes at a very difficult time for farmers, and we know that this program will not make people whole. We know that some commodities will qualify and some may not, just based on the information available and what USDA has put together. For those that don't qualify, there is an opportunity. There will be an opportunity to make the case still to USDA. But hopefully this program, CFAP, combined with some of the Small Business Administration programs, can help keep farmers farming in the meantime.
Applications will be accepted through August 28, 2020. More information can be found online at farmers.gov.
What happens when a road accident results in a hazardous waste spill? Contact attorney Dirk Beckwith at 248-539-9918 to learn the next steps.
Now an update on a story we first told you about 2 weeks ago on Farm News 5. Michigan's U-Pick growers were worried they wouldn't be able to open under the governor's current safer-at-home order during the peak picking season, which is right around the corner. This week, the Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development sent out guidelines for U-Pick operations. They include developing a COVID-19 preparedness and response plan and training employees on that plan, screening employees daily for COVID-19 symptoms, and requiring employees to wear personal protective equipment like masks and gloves. For a full rundown of MDARD's guidance, go to the agency's website. And now for Michigan Ag Commodities with our weekly market report, here's Chris Betts.
Thanks, Janelle. Questionable demand outlooks continue to weigh on corn and beans. Ethanol demand for corn has made a recovery, which has helped support Michigan corn basis. It will be important for gasoline usage to continue to grow as travel bans are lifted. Weekly data for last week showed ethanol production continuing to climb, but gasoline usage fell off from the week prior. Soybeans have been under pressure as the U.S.-China trade relationship continues to be stressed. Chinese purchases of U.S. ag products will be crucial for values to appreciate in the coming marketing year. For more marketing information, go to michag.com. With Michigan Agricultural Commodities, I'm Chris Betts.
For more news and video, visit MichiganFarmNews.com or the Michigan Farm Bureau channel on YouTube. With Farm News 5, I'm Janelle Brose. Have a great week of farming.